Good morning to everyone. I would like to invite you to take your seat, please. Bonjour à tous. Je voudrais vous inviter à vous asseoir, s'il vous plaît. Nous allons commencer.
Good morning, everyone. Shall we have a seat? Dear colleagues, please allow me to welcome you again at the extended 45th session of the World Heritage Committee. I hope you have had a pleasant evening yesterday and that you enjoyed the opening ceremony. Before we start with our work, the Assistant Minister of Culture of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia and the General Supervisor of the Saudi National Commission of Education and Culture and Science, His Excellency Mr. Rakan bin Ibrahim Al-Tog, and the UNESCO Director General, Madame Audrey Azoulay, honor us with their presence in this first plenary meeting and will address the distinguished members of the World Heritage Committee. I would now like to give the floor to His Excellency Mr. Rakan bin Ibrahim Al-Tog. Please, Your Excellency.
Good morning, everyone. معالي مدير عام منظمة اليونسكو، سعادة مدير مركز التراث العالمي في منظمة اليونسكو، سعادة مدير العام لمنظمة الإيكروم، سعادة رئيسة منظمة الآيكوموس، أصحاب السمو والمعالي والسعادة، السيدات والسادة، السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. اسمحوا لي بداية أن أرحب بضيوفنا الكرام في الدورة 45 الموسعة للجنة التراث العالمي بمنظمة اليونسكو. كما أعرب عن تقديري البالغ لحضوركم افتتاح أعمال لجنة التراث العالمي، ويشرفني في مستهل اجتماعنا هذا أن أنقل لكم وافر تحيات صاحب السمو الأمير بدر بن عبد الله بن فرحان آل سعود وزير الثقافة رئيس اللجنة الوطنية للتربية والثقافة والعلوم، وتمنياته المخلصة بأن تنجح هذه الدورة في تحقيق ما نصبو إليه جميعاً، وأن تعزز من الأدوار المحورية المهمة التي تبذلها لجنة التراث العالمي في منظمة اليونسكو في سبيل الحفاظ على مكتسبات الحضارة الإنسانية وتراثها العظيم.
Δεν δουλεύει, ναι. Πώς γι' αυτό μας έχουν τα άλλα από πίσω. Όχι, να σταματήσει, λένε. Α.
Dear interpreters, do you hear us from here? Apologies, Your Excellencies, dear colleagues. There was an issue. The mic was not linked to the interpreters so that they couldn't interpret the speech. So we will do it from the podium. Apologize again.
Apologies, this is technical difficulties. Everybody, appreciate everyone's patience. So I'll start over with better translation, I hope. معالي مدير عام منظمة اليونسكو، وسعادة مدير مركز التراث العالمي في منظمة اليونسكو، سعادة المدير العام لمنظمة الآيكروم، سعادة رئيسة منظمة الآيكوموس، وأصحاب السمو والمعالي والسعادة، السيدات والسادة، السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. اسمحوا لي بداية أن أرحب بضيوفنا الكرام في الدورة 45 الموسعة للجنة التراث العالمي بمنظمة اليونسكو، وأعرب عن تقديري البالغ لحضوركم افتتاح أعمال لجنة التراث العالمي، ويشرفني في مستهل اجتماعنا هذا أن أنقل لكم وافر تحيات صاحب السمو الأمير بدر بن عبد الله بن فرحان آل سعود وزير الثقافة رئيس اللجنة الوطنية للتربية والثقافة والعلوم، وتمنياته المخلصة بأن تنجح هذه الدورة في تحقيق ما نصبو إليه جميعاً، وأن تعزز من الأدوار المحورية المهمة التي تبذلها لجنة التراث العالمي في منظمة اليونسكو في سبيل الحفاظ على مكتسبات الحضارة الإنسانية وتراثها العظيم. وإننا في المملكة العربية السعودية نؤمن بأهمية تضافر الجهود من أجل حفظ التراث بمختلف قوالبه وأنماطه، لما له من قيمة معرفية وإنسانية بالغة ترتبط بشكل وثيق بتاريخنا وثقافتنا ووعينا الحضاري، وتنعكس بالضرورة على حاضرنا ومستقبلنا. لذا فإن المملكة وبدعم وتمكين من مقام خادم الحرمين الشريفين الملك سلمان بن عبد العزيز آل سعود وسيدي صاحب السمو الملكي الأمير محمد بن سلمان بن عبد العزيز آل سعود ولي العهد رئيس مجلس الوزراء حفظهم الله، سخرت كل طاقاتها وإمكاناتها لخدمة التراث، ليس بمعناه الوطني فقط ولا امتداده المحلي فحسب، بل ببعده الدولي الواسع وفضائه الإنساني العام. واجتماعنا هنا اليوم في الرياض وضمن أعمال الدورة 49 يؤكد اهتمام بلادي بالمحافظة على التراث العالمي وضمان استدامته، وكلنا أمل في أن نسهم معاً في تطوير سياسات مستدامة تعزز الجهود المشتركة لحفظ وصون مواقع التراث العالمي في دول العالم، وتحفز الدول الأعضاء على بناء رؤى موحدة لشراكات استراتيجية من أجل ضمان ازدهار أعمال لجنة التراث العالمي واستدامة جهودها في المحافظة على التراث الإنساني. الحضور الكريم، تعمل بلادي المملكة العربية السعودية مع شركائها في منظمة اليونسكو على دعم مواقع التراث العالمي وصونها، كما تحرص كل الحرص على إمداد القطاع الثقافي بكل ما يلزم لتعزيز الاهتمام بالمواقع التراثية، ومن ذلك وضع سجلات محلية وطنية تعنى برصد المواقع التراثية ومتابعة حالتها وصيانتها وحفظها وصونها. كما تبنت المملكة استراتيجية بناء القدرات للعاملين في مجال التراث كما أسست الصندوق السعودي لدى اليونسكو لتمويل ودعم البرامج والمشاريع ذات الصلة حول العالم، بالإضافة إلى العديد من الجهود التي نؤمن بأهمية تضافرها مع الجهود الدولية من خلال لجنة التراث العالمي الموقرة. إن التزامنا جميعاً بالتعاون في دعم تطوير رؤية شاملة للعمل المشترك من أجل الحفاظ على مواقع التراث العالمي وصونها يساعد بشكل جلي في تعزيز العمل الدولي المشترك في المجالات ذات العلاقة، ويسعدنا بالتأكيد ما نلمسه من جهود دولية راهنة تسعى لدعم نتائج أعمال اللجنة. في الختام أكرر شكري وتقديري لحضوركم الكريم، كما نشكر باسمكم منظمة اليونسكو ومركز التراث العالمي في اليونسكو والدول الأعضاء لتعاونهم أثناء الجلسة الحالية في ضيافة المملكة العربية السعودية، ونتطلع إلى استمرار الإسهام في تعزيز العمل الثقافي المشترك في الجلسات القادمة، مع أمنياتنا بالتوفيق لجهود منظمة اليونسكو وكافة المراكز الدولية لصون التراث الطبيعي والثقافي في أرجاء العالم وتحقيق أهداف التنمية المستدامة. شكراً لكم.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency, for this very enlightening message that will accompany us through our work during the next 2 weeks. And now it is my pleasure to give the floor to the UNESCO Director General, Madame Audrey Azoulay. Please, Madame Director General, you have the floor.
Monsieur le Président du Comité du patrimoine mondial, Dr Abdullah Al-Torkais, Monsieur le Vice-ministre de la Culture, Excellence Rakan Ibrahim Al-Touk, Mesdames et Messieurs les ministres, Excellences, Mesdames et Messieurs, très chers amis, je suis particulièrement heureuse d'ouvrir ici avec vous cette session élargie du Comité du patrimoine mondial. Avant tout, je voudrais redire ici solennellement au peuple marocain, en notre nom à tous, notre émotion, notre solidarité. Ta'zina al-ara li sha'ab al-Maghrib wa li jalalati al-Malik Mohamed al-Sadis. Nous serons bien sûr à leur côté le moment venu. Mais aujourd'hui, nous nous retrouvons à Riyad pour un moment très attendu, avec un programme de travail dense. Ce comité va examiner 50 propositions d'inscription, ainsi qu'un nombre exceptionnel de rapports sur la conservation des sites du patrimoine mondial. Ces chiffres nous disent combien est grand, dans le monde contemporain, le besoin de nous appuyer sur le patrimoine culturel, le patrimoine naturel aussi. Mais ils disent aussi combien le patrimoine a besoin de nous, de nos efforts pour le conserver, pour le valoriser, pour le transmettre. Je veux donc remercier l'Arabie saoudite d'accueillir cette importante session. Je me souviens du rôle pionnier qu'a joué le Royaume, alors président du G20, désormais G21, pour lancer des sessions dédiées à la culture, encouragées et soutenues par toutes les présidences successives depuis. Cet engagement en faveur de la culture s'ancre bien sûr et avant tout dans la profondeur et dans l'authenticité des patrimoines culturels et naturels de ce pays, dont témoignent tant de traditions et de sites exceptionnels. Mais il témoigne aussi d'un choix important pour l'avenir, car la culture emporte avec elle des opportunités uniques de dialogue, d'approfondissement de la connaissance, et possède cette rare vertu d'allier identité et universalité. La diversité des dossiers examinés à ce comité et des délégations ici présentes en témoigne. Soyez tous les bienvenus, car chacun a sa place autour de cette table, chacun aussi a sa part de responsabilité. Dans le monde entier, nous sommes mobilisés pour mettre les patrimoines plus haut dans l'agenda des politiques publiques. Et nous pouvons nous appuyer sur ce socle normatif universel qu'est notre Convention pour le patrimoine mondial. Depuis sa ratification en mai dernier par les Tuvalu, la Convention compte désormais 195 États parties. Et nous aurons besoin de ce socle universel, de sa lettre, mais aussi de son esprit, face aux défis à relever. L'universalité d'abord. La liste des sites du patrimoine mondial ne l'incarne pas tout à fait encore. 27 États n'y ont encore aucun site inscrit. L'UNESCO travaille sans relâche pour y remédier, notamment en vertu de notre priorité pour l'Afrique. L'intégralité des 12 pays africains non représentés au patrimoine mondial aujourd'hui sont soutenus par l'UNESCO pour pouvoir présenter, d'ici 2 ans, une proposition d'inscription. Et dès cette session, 7 sites en Afrique seront examinés. Nous formons aussi sur le terrain des dizaines d'experts africains du patrimoine et dont la moitié sont des femmes. Nous pourrons, je l'espère, aussi nous réjouir collectivement d'une bonne nouvelle en la matière, puisque les tombes des rois du Bouganda à Kasubi en Ouganda pourraient, si vous le décidez, sortir au cours de cette session de la liste du patrimoine mondial en péril, après 13 années de travail conjoint. Mais ce n'est qu'un début, car d'ici 2029, notre objectif est que la moitié des sites africains figurant aujourd'hui sur la liste du patrimoine en péril puissent en sortir. Rendre le patrimoine mondial plus équitable, c'est aussi repenser parfois la gestion et la compréhension des lieux. C'est notamment mieux protéger le rôle des populations locales et des peuples autochtones pour l'identification et la sauvegarde des sites. C'est aussi pouvoir mieux lutter contre le tourisme irraisonné qui sacrifie aux intérêts du moment la pérennité des trésors légués par les siècles. Et pour cela, il nous faut aborder le travail de conservation comme un processus social, économique et environnemental, un travail pour le progrès et la justice, comme en témoignent les révisions que ce comité a apportées aux orientations de la Convention au cours des années passées. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, our regular reports show the existential threat, which is the climate disruption, the existential threat it poses to our heritage. You know that we emerged from the hottest month of July on record. We know that floods devastate sites and population as coastal erosion threatens the very existence of island nations. 7 in 10 marine and coastal World Heritage sites are directly in danger. Yet, a joint study by UNESCO and the IUCN, published at the end of last month, showed the crucial role of our sites for biodiversity. Although they cover just 1% of the Earth's surface, our sites are home to 20% of known species. They protect life in all its diversity, and human life too. I have witnessed around the world the success of strategies that combine the protection of nature and sustainable employment. But we have seen recently the destruction caused by extreme climate conditions in Madagascar, in Pakistan, in Cuba, in Peru. UNESCO has sent teams to each of these countries to evaluate damage and support the preparation for the reconstruction, thanks to the Heritage Emergency Fund. But we also need to be better prepared for the long term. This is why by 2025, all World Heritage Site managers will have received training on climate adaptation strategies. Excellencies, we also know too well that armed conflict can sometimes ruin in an instant heritage shaped over centuries, when cultural and natural heritage is victim of combat. I am thinking, of course, of Ukraine, of Yemen, where UNESCO has rolled out decisive action in the field. But there are also other crisis theaters in Sudan, and you know that UNESCO has a very dear and particular history with the Sudanese Nubia. I am thinking also of great stretches of the African continent, from Kivu to the Sahel, where armed gangs are ransacking populations and heritage as well as in Haiti. In a few days' time, at the United Nations headquarters in New York, we will show in an exhibition how powerful culture can be in supporting societies devastated by conflict, building also on the exceptional work we have done in Mosul, Iraq, in recent years, thanks to our collective mobilisation. Excellences, Mesdames et Messieurs, vous aurez aussi, lors de ce comité, à vous prononcer en responsabilité sur l'articulation sensible Vous aurez à vous prononcer sur l'articulation sensible entre mémoire et patrimoine, à travers 3 inscriptions proposées, en Europe, en Amérique latine et en Afrique. Des lieux qui incarnent, dans la liste du patrimoine mondial, cette vocation singulière de mémoire. À l'instar du site d'Auschwitz-Birkenau, qui matérialise plus qu'aucun autre la tragédie de la Shoah et oppose la force des faits historiques à ceux qui cessaient à les nier, les minimiser ou les déformer. Les témoins passent, mais les sites resteront et continueront de parler aux générations, en gardiens vigilants de la mémoire et de la conscience collective. Ces sites, qui portent les stigmates de l'histoire, sont à la fois des lieux de recueillement et de vérité indispensables à la justice. Ils doivent pouvoir, en étant préservés et rendus accessibles au public, jouer un rôle d'éducation, de transmission, pour faire le lien entre passé et présent, et construire la conscience universelle de l'humanité. Ce seront donc des dossiers importants sur lesquels vous aurez à vous prononcer lors de cette session. Excellences, Mesdames et Messieurs, la notion même de patrimoine s'enrichit, se complifie devant nos yeux. C'est pourquoi il faudra plus que jamais conserver cet esprit de responsabilité et de consensus qui a caractérisé ces dernières années les travaux de ce comité en particulier, et de l'UNESCO en général. Cette unité est notre force et nous en avons déjà collectivement recueilli les fruits. Je veux particulièrement remercier ici les délégations palestiniennes, israéliennes et jordaniennes, toutes ici présentes, pour leur confiance, qui a permis à la médiation du secrétariat de vous présenter une nouvelle fois des textes faisant l'objet de consensus, à rebours de tous les déterminismes. Je veux remercier les délégations des autres pays qui ont soutenu ces efforts. Je veux féliciter aussi particulièrement le Japon et la République de Corée, qui nous ont fait confiance, qui ont fait confiance à la médiation du secrétariat et qui ont permis de présenter un texte sur l'interprétation d'un site inscrit en 2015, où là encore, mémoire, histoire et patrimoine s'entremêlent de façon complexe et sensible. C'est donc sous les auspices du dialogue et de l'esprit de consensus que je vous souhaite de fructueux travaux et remercie de nouveau le Royaume d'Arabie saoudite d'accueillir cette session consacrée à l'héritage du monde. Souvenons-nous que nous n'en sommes pas propriétaires, mais seulement dépositaires et passeurs. Je vous remercie infiniment.
Many thanks, Madam Director General, for these wise and inspiring words. So, moving to our schedule and work to directly item number 2. Dear colleagues, with deep gratitude for your trust in me as a chairperson of this session, I wish to highlight my hope that, once again, all of us, committee members and representatives of the state parties, colleagues from the Secretariat and advisory bodies, as well as other organizations and stakeholders, all to work together in a true spirit of multilateralism and through dialogue and cooperation, to promote the values of the World Heritage Convention, to forge trust and solidarity, and to make this awaited extended session successful. I have no doubt that we all have at heart to achieve a consensus on all draft decisions proposed before us, and I will spare no effort in this regard. This is our first session in presential since 4 years, and this first one since 2021. We have, therefore, a very heavy agenda, Hence, I would like to remind you all that all the participants to strictly follow the time limits of interventions and requirements of the rules of procedures so that we can keep in pace with our timetable. Please also understand that although I will try my best to let all interested parties make intervention and comment as per our rules of procedures, I may not be able to give floor to every observer every time. In this regard, I would like to already ask NGOs to group their various interventions on the subject matter into one joint statement and to focus on this matter only. In addition, as a chairperson, I wanted to make it very clear that I will reserve the right to interrupt any intervention, either by committee members or observers alike, which is not directly related to the technical item under examination by the committee. I thank you in advance for your cooperation in this regard.
Oh, yes, but maybe Mr.
Yes. So His Excellency and the Director General will leave us, and we give them a round of applause for their presence and honoring us today. Dear committee members, now I would like to proceed with the agenda and start with document WHC-23-45.com-2.REV, request for observer status. Before considering the admission of observers, I would like to give the floor to the Director of the World Heritage Center and the Secretary of the 1972 Convention, Mr. Elondo Asomo, for some general announcements. Mr. Elondo Asomo, please, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairperson. First of all, allow me to recall that the committee at its 35th session decided that World Heritage Committee meetings should be live streamed over the web. Therefore, the debates of our session will be live streamed through the address which appears on the screen now, and which is also available on the website of the extended 45th session of the committee. Secondly, allow me to indicate that UNESCO gratefully acknowledges the host country for providing interpretation in Arabic throughout for the session. And please note that thanks to the generosity of the Kingdom of Spain, interpretation will be available in Spanish for the duration of the entire meeting. Finally, please also be informed that we will benefit from a Russian interpretation from 12 to 20 September, thanks to the generosity of the Russian Federation. In this regard, I invite the Arabic, Spanish, and Russian language speakers to choose in which working language, English or French, they would like to see their interventions being reflected in the summary records of this session. Your choice should be indicated orally at the time of your first intervention. It should also be transmitted in writing to the Secretariat before the end of our session today. Thank you, Mr. Chairperson.
Thank you very much, Director. Now, we turn our attention to the admission of observer. The list is present in document 2.rev in accordance with Article 8 of the Rules of the Procedure. For your information, this is the bilingual document. I would like to ask our dear rapporteur if she has received any amendment on the draft decision proposed.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We have received no amendments for this decision. It may be adopted as is 45.com2 Rev.
Thank you, Mr. Rapporteur. Dear colleagues, I have now to ask you if you agree to the presence of these observers throughout the session. I see no intervention. Thank you. I declare that agenda item 2 is closed. Now moving to item 3. Dear committee members, we can now move to the review of the agenda and the timetable of our session, item 3A and 3B. The provisional agenda is presented to you in document WHC-23-45.com-3A, and the provisional timetable in document WHC-23-45.com-3B, and its curriculum. Dear committee members, as you are aware, the Bureau held its first meeting this morning, as explained in our occasions, in reference to the State of Conservation report open for discussion. I propose that, should any further requests come from committee members during the session, we do accept them only until general item 7 is open tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Then, the final list of reports to be discussed will be closed. I also propose that any last-minute requests be only discussed after 24 hours. To let sufficient time for all committee members and experts to be prepared and to ensure a well-informed decision-making process. Furthermore, as we heard from the Director, only 4 State of Conservation are open for discussion under item 7A, which concerns the properties inscribed on the list of World Heritage in danger. Yet, 2 days are allocated to discuss this item, Tuesday the 12th and Wednesday the 13th of September. With your agreement, I suggest that, in the interest of time management, we advance in the examination of item 7B as soon as item 7A is closed. Dear colleagues, regarding item 8B on nominations, considering the latest withdrawals, currently we have 50 nominations to examine between Saturday, the 16th of September afternoon and Wednesday, the 20th September. And even in applying a strict scheduling, there would still be an issue of time management, as most probably we would not be able to achieve the examination of item 8B by the end of the Wednesday session. For this reason, and in order to save time, I suggest that for the nominations that are recommended for inscription and do not present any particular potential issue, I will congratulate on behalf of the committee the state party concerned and give it to the floor for 2-minute statements. To this extent, I will ask for the cooperation of all committee members and observers alike, as it would be preferable to unify applying this standard as from the beginning of the examination of all nomination with your agreement. I will remind you this principle while introducing item 8B. In addition, there will be a specific space dedicated to celebrate next to the Bureau meeting room on the left side. I would like to invite Mr. Elnodo Asomo to present the agenda and the timetable of this session as contained in the relevant document. These documents should be read in conjunction with the document WHC-23-45.com-INF.3A.REV.2, which contains the provisional list of the documents for our session. Mr. Elnodo Asomo, you have the mic.
Thank you, Mr. Chairperson. First of all, allow me to recall that the provisional agenda of the 45th session contained in document 3A was already adopted by the committee at its extended 44th session in July 2021, and I would like to remind you decision 44.4. However, as you will remember, following the decision in April 2022 to postpone the 45th session, the committee, during its 18th extraordinary session in January 2023, examined the modalities of the present session and decided the session will be an extended one, which agenda will contain items already scheduled for the 45th session that will have been held in 2022, and items already scheduled for 2023 during the previous sessions of the committee, which are item 5D on the World Heritage Convention and Sustainable Development, item 10B on the report on the results of the third cycle of the periodic reporting exercise in Latin America and the Caribbean. And furthermore, item 15 has been completed with the proposal for the budget of the biennium 2024-2025. It is important to note that the number of items has not been doubled compared to the session already initially scheduled in 2022, as the reporting period covered for regular and recurrent items. For example, the report of the Secretariat and the one of the advisory bodies has been extended from 1 to 2 years without any additional document. However, the number of state of conservation reports has been doubled. Indeed, the reports scheduled for examination in 2023 have been added to those already planned for in 2022. And the number of reports on state of conservation you will have to decide on is therefore amounting 263. The number of nominations has also been doubled. Nominations scheduled for examination in 2022 will therefore have to be examined together with those already scheduled for examination in 2023, amounting to 50 nominations. Distinguished members of the committee, the provisional timetable of the session is contained in documents 3B and core and includes a number of agenda items that are proposed to be adopted without debate, as indicated already during the 18th extraordinary session of the committee. And those items appears in the documents with gray highlight in all the documents. In a short presentation of those items will be made by the Secretariat or the advisory bodies, and we will move directly to the adoption of the draft decision. Of course, the World Heritage Center and the advisory bodies will stand ready to answer committee members' questions while examining the relevant paragraphs of the draft decisions. Allow me to recall also that all practical information for the holding of this session are included in document inf.1, providing general information. Distinguished members of the committee, allow me to recall that due to the number of items on our agenda and the time constraints, Rule 22.2 of the Rules of Procedures, which grants the chairperson with the possibility to limit the time allowed to each speaker, will be applied if circumstances make this desirable. Time for interventions, therefore, will be limited to 3 minutes for committee members and 2 minutes for observers. In this regard, please note that a timer system to gauge interventions is in place, which will blink in red whenever a speaker exceeding the recommended time limit. Concerning the interventions by observers from civil societies and NGOs, we strongly advise, if they wish to take the floor on the same topic, to hold consultation among them in order to prepare and deliver one single intervention. In order to save time as much as possible, we also appeal to you not to repeat what other delegations have said or for making congratulatory statements. Official statements, declarations should be transmitted to the Secretariat in writing as soon as they have been delivered in order to integrate them in the summary records of this session. And furthermore, I would like to recall that for the item on nominations, after decisions for inscription made by the committee, the submitting states concerned may be invited by the chairperson to give a speech. Regardless of the format of the intervention, submitting states will be allotted a total of 2 minutes. In the case of transboundary transnational nominations, the duration of intervention, speech by one or more state parties shall also not exceed 2 minutes in total. The coordinating state for the nomination is asked to coordinate in advance the order and format of interventions that will be made. Due to the necessity to allocate a fair amount of time to all files, the cooperation of submitting states in respecting this time requirement will be very much appreciated. Please note that timing of sessions will be strictly respected, and allow me to insist on this point, as we will have no possibility to prolong our session. Please note that, as indicated in the timetable, the meeting of the Bureau will be held every morning from 9:30 to 10 a.m. as of tomorrow, Tuesday, 12 September, with an exception on Friday 15 and 22nd of September, when the Bureau will be held from 2:30 to 3 p.m., and on Monday, 25th of September, where we will not have a Bureau on the last day of our session. Dear committee members, allow me to remind you that the bilateral consultations will have to be arranged by delegations aside of session. The Secretariat will not be able to provide assistance in this regard. However, for the meeting of working groups, or in case of establishment of drafting groups by the chairperson, the Secretariat would facilitate the organization of these meetings. The Secretariat would also participate in these meetings as deemed as necessary. I would also like to recall that all micros should be turned off when not speaking, so as not to disturb the proceedings. Please note that no specific coffee breaks are foreseen during our daily meetings. Mr. Chairperson, as it was indicated in the Bureau meeting, I also wish to remind all committee members that all amendments to draft decisions have to be submitted well in advance before the discussion to our rapporteur, Mrs. Sheikh in writing, preferably showing the changes proposed in track changes. Indeed, considering that the 45th session has an extended agenda, the rules of procedure will have to be strictly respected in order to ensure a timely and smooth processing of all agenda items. Therefore, amendments to draft decisions shall be submitted by committee members by email to the email wh rapporteur@unesco.org using the appropriate form which has been sent to all committee member delegations. Please ensure that you do not modify the form and you do not add new headings. While committee members are entitled to submit an amendment to any moment until the decision is made, oral amendments made during examination of item concerned should remain as far as possible small changes to the wording of the draft decision. And furthermore, Mr. Chairperson, I want to clarify that co-sponsoring of amendment is not an option for committee sessions, in line with Rule 23.2 of the Rules of Procedure. Committee members can, however, be co-authors of an amendment with other submitting committee members. All co-authors should then always be in CC of the email exchanges, and their names should appear in the box entitled Amendment Submitted by the Delegation of. Alternatively, a committee member can take the floor during the plenary to express its support for a proposed amendment. The submission of substantial proposals of amendment should be made at least 24 hours before the discussion of the agenda item concerned, if feasible, in accordance with Rule 23.3 of the Rules of Procedure and as reiterated by the committee in its decision 15X3. This would greatly facilitate the organization of the online debates and an informed decision-making process. The Secretariat would upload written of the submitted proposed amendment on the web page of the meeting on the World Heritage Center's webpage under the tab Documents, and will inform committee members accordingly in a timely manner. Thank you, Mr. Chairperson.
Thank you very much, Mr. Nodu Asomo, for the presentation. I would like to know whether there are any comments on this agenda item. No. So thank you. I see no more question and comment, and now invite you to adopt the draft decision 45 3A. But before doing so, I would like to ask the rapporteur if she has received any amendment on the draft decision proposed.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We have received no amendments on the draft decision 45 3A.
Thank you. Are there any comments or questions? I see none. I therefore declare draft decision 45 3A adopted. Also, I declare agenda item 3A closed. I now invite you to adopt the draft decision 45 3B. Dear colleagues, with this information on the outcomes of the Bureau, I would now like to ask the rapporteur if she has received any amendment on the draft decision 45 3B proposed.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. No amendments are received for the draft decision 45 3B.
Thank you. Are there any comments or questions? I see none. I therefore declare draft decision 45 3B adopted. Ladies and gentlemen, let us examine now item 4 of our agenda. As you know, Ms. Merai Halison-Vonsky from the Kingdom of Bahrain was the rapporteur of the extended 44th session of the World Heritage Committee, which has held in 2021 online with the chairperson Tain Yujin from Fuzhou, China. As you know and remember, in the line of the decision 18 ext.com 3 and Annex 2 of the document WHC-23-18 ext.com-3, this agenda item will be adopted without debate. I now have the pleasure to invite Ms. Halison-Vonsky, who is with us today, to present her report, which will highlight the main issues discussed during our last session.
Dear Mr. Chairperson, members of the committee, delegates of state parties, members of the Secretariat, advisory bodies, and participants of the extended 45th session of the World Heritage Committee. I have the pleasure to be here with you today to present my report on the proceedings of the extended 44th session of the World Heritage Committee, which was held in Fuzhou, China, and online from 16 to 31 July 2021. Distinguished committee members, it was an honor that you allowed me to serve as the rapporteur of the extended 44th session, which was the first ever session to be held under unique arrangements. I had the privilege to attend the session from the UNESCO headquarters in Paris with many representatives from the Secretariat of the Convention and from UNESCO, and all other participants, including the committee members, attended the meeting online. The extended 41st session was chaired by His Excellency Mr. Tian Shejun from Fuzhou, and I would like to take this opportunity to commend him for his dedication and excellent chairmanship, as well as the entire team in Fuzhou who contributed immensely to the success of the session. Please also let me offer my gratitude to the UNESCO Secretariat, whose assistance was invaluable for my work as rapporteur during the session. The session was attended by 1,414 participants in total, including members of the committee, representatives of the state parties to the convention, NGOs, and observers. Over more than 2 weeks, the World Heritage Committee adopted 360 decisions. Due to exceptional nature of an extended session, some agenda items were adopted without debate, and many were opened on the first day of the plenary meetings to allow the creation of consultative groups. On the second day of debates, the World Heritage Committee endorsed the draft updated policy document on climate action for World Heritage and requested the World Heritage Center, in consultation with the advisory bodies, to revise it for subsequent transmission for consideration and adoption at the 23rd session of the General Assembly of State Parties to the World Heritage Convention in November 2021. Under items 7A and 7B, the committee examined 255 state of conservation reports, which included the 53 properties inscribed on the list of World Heritage in danger at the time, and 20 reports were open for discussion. 2 properties were recommended for deletion, and following a vote by secret ballot, Liverpool Maritime Mercantile City, United Kingdom, was removed from the World Heritage list, while Selous Game Reserve, United Republic of Tanzania, was retained on the list in danger. In addition, 7 properties were recommended for inscription on the list in danger. However, the committee decided not to approve those. The reasons given were largely based on the consequences of the pandemics, particularly the impossibility of carrying out missions and also the difficulty of balancing conservation and development. Furthermore, 1 property recommended to be maintained on the list in danger was removed from the list, Salonga National Park, Democratic Republic of Congo. Lastly, 1 property was inscribed at the same time on the World Heritage list and the list of World Heritage in danger, Roșia Montana, Romania. 52 properties are currently inscribed on the list of World Heritage in danger. Regarding nominations, the World Heritage Committee inscribed 34 new properties on the World Heritage list, 5 natural and 29 cultural. In total, 17 properties were not recommended for inscription at the 44th session, but the committee decided to inscribe 15 of those. Furthermore, 8 referrals and 7 deferrals became inscriptions. The newly inscribed property, borders of the Roman Empire, the Danube Limes, western segment, was heavily debated by the committee following the withdrawal of one of the nominating countries from the nomination after the evaluation of the site had been made. Consequently, ICOMOS declared that its evaluation was no longer valid. The property was inscribed after a vote by secret ballot. The committee also referred 1 nomination back, the Heart of Bronze Age Culture, Mongolia, and adjourned sine die the examination of the nomination of the property, Gdańsk, Poland. Lastly, it approved the extension of 3 properties already inscribed on the list. The World Heritage list now consists of 1,157 properties, of which 900 are cultural, 218 are natural, and 39 are mixed. Mr. Chairperson, let me add that under Agenda Item 8, the committee had a discussion on the purpose and scope of the World Heritage Convention and its operational guidelines in relation to sites of memory associated with recent conflicts. Consequently, a drafting group was established in order to arrive at a consensus draft decision. However, after an extensive debate, and since no conclusion was reached, the committee decided to establish an open-ended working group open to all states parties to the convention, the results of which will be presented for consideration at the current session. Distinguished delegates, following the recommendations of the ad hoc working group, the committee decided to adopt the reformed nomination process, which aims at restoring and enhancing the credibility and balance of the World Heritage list. The committee also decided to extend the mandate of the ad hoc in 2 subgroups to propose innovative solutions to ensure the long-term financial sustainability of the reform, and outcomes will be reviewed at the present session as well. Before I conclude, allow me to wish all the best to Mrs. Shikha Jain from India, rapporteur of the present session, who I'm certain will find this important role equally demanding and rewarding, just like I did. I wish all the members of the committee rich debates, smooth proceedings, and a successful session under the excellent chairmanship of His Excellency Dr. Abdullah Al-Tokais. Lastly, I present my sincere thanks to the host country of Saudi Arabia for this outstanding organization. Thank you for your attention, and shukran jaziran.
Thank you very much for your presentation. On behalf of all committee members, I would like to reiterate our gratitude to Ms. Holston Wosinski for such a high-quality work. I also wish to thank the State Party of China once more for the perfect organization and conditions provided for the previous session. I propose that the committee takes note of the report by the rapporteur of the extended 44th session. Is there any comment or questions on the report of the last session? I see none. I propose that the committee takes note of the report by the rapporteur of the extended 45th session. If there is no objection, it is so decided. Dear colleagues, we are now moving to the opening of our agenda item 15, dedicated to the budget matter. The relevant document for this item is document 44.com-15. I would like to give the floor to the Director of the World Heritage Center, Mr. Lazar Ilondo Asomo, who will provide us with some important clarifications regarding this agenda item. But before that, I would like to announce this. Smoking is not allowed in the venue or indoor anywhere else, around the property. So please, if you want to smoke, smoke outside the venue. Mr. Director, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Chairperson. As you will remember, the committee established by its decision 35-COM-12B, a standing consultative body for review of the committee's biennial budget in conformity with Article 20 of the Rules of Procedure. This consultative body is open, obviously, to all committee members as well as to states non-members of the committee that wishes to attend its meeting. I would like also to recall that the advisory bodies will have the possibility to attend this working group as observers. In this regard, Mr. Chairperson, I would like to clarify that we will not have any general presentation of the document of the budget in the plenary, but that this is done as per practice at the first meeting of the working group. I would also strongly encourage all the members of the committee to attend the first meeting of this working group. As per practice, the working group will be held for 3 days at lunchtime to avoid heavy agenda and overlapping of meetings. Furthermore, due to the exceptional duration of the present session, it has been proposed to hold the meetings of the working group closer to the examination of the item in plenary, which is foreseen on 22 September afternoon. So it is proposed that the budget group meets from 18 to 20 September from 2 to 3 p.m. Allow me also to recall that the whole purpose of this working group is to examine the draft decision proposed in order to recommend it on a consensual basis for adoption to the plenary. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Many thanks, Director. These are indeed extremely important points to consider in our deliberations. Dear colleagues, after having heard the explanation of the Director, can the committee agree with this proposal? I see no interventions. Let's proceed then. I will ask Mr. Ilondo Asomo as well to answer apologize. So furthermore, as you know, as per Rule 20.2 of the Rules of Procedures, if it is of the responsibility of the working group to elect its chairperson. However, I understand that some consultations already took place in this regard. Therefore, I would like to know if the distinguished delegation would like to make a proposal. Okay. State of Qatar, you have the floor.
شكرا سيد الرئيس. صباح الخير، السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. أتمنى للجميع إن شاء الله جلسات ناجحة بإذن الله. دولة قطر تود ترشيح الدكتورة يارا القافري المستشار والمدير في وفد سلطنة عمان الشقيقة لهذا المنصب، وذلك لما تتمتع به من خبرة خلال ترأسها للمجموعة الخاصة لهذا الجروب ولهذا للشؤون المالية. وشكرا سيد الرئيس.
المملكة العربية السعودية.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. نود أن نؤيد ترشيح دولة قطر لترشيح الأستاذة يارا الغافري لرئاسة الفاينانشال اد هوك جروب.
شكرا. Thank you, Your Excellencies. If there is no objection to this proposal, this is so decided. Congratulations to Ms. Al-Ghafri, who will be with us in the couple of days. Thank you very much for your cooperation on this. And based on the previous year's practice, and if you are in agreement with this proposal, I would propose that the Budget Working Group meet for its first meeting on the 18th of September in the Bureau meeting room from 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. We can therefore move to our next item agenda. Dear colleagues, we are moving to the next item, considering the report of the World Heritage Center on its activities it has undertaken since the last session of the World Heritage Committee in July 2021 until May 2023, which is contained in document 45com-5A. This report of the Secretariat spans over a 2-year period and is therefore very comprehensive. I would like to thank, on behalf of all committee members and state parties, the World Heritage Center for their excellent work conducted under the leadership of Mr. Elnodou Assomo. The report of the World Heritage Center on its activity will now be introduced by the Director of the World Heritage Center. Please, Director, you have the floor.
Thank you, Chairperson. As I indicated, this report covers a 2-year period, so bear with me. I'll try not to be too long, but to give you the most important point of this report. First of all, let me start by explaining a little bit the structure of the report of the Secretariat on its activities. Since 2021, and to align with the reporting processes of the governing bodies of the different culture convention, the information was streamlined to emphasize the synergies between conventions while highlighting the overall strategic assessment of the Secretariat's activities, its key achievements and challenges encountered. And keeping into account that no session of the committee could be held in 2022, so this document 5A presents a report on the main activities that were conducted during this period and the result, and follows the structure of the expected results 1 of Major Program 4 as defined in the approved 40C/5. So the narrative part presents notably the progress made against the performance indicators, a report on World Heritage thematic programs and initiatives, a report on the synergies with other conventions and programs, and finally the challenges and way forward. I will also want to bring to your attention that the table contained in Annex 1 presents a list of activities with results obtained in pursuit of the 5 C's, which, to recall, are credibility, conservation, capacity building, communication, and communities. And that's for Annex 1. And for Annex 2 of the report, it contains the status of the implementation of the decisions adopted at the extended 45th session. Annex 3 of the report provides a list of meetings related to the World Heritage from August 2021 to December 2023. In Annex 4, you will have a report on the use of the World Heritage emblem, while Annex 5 inventories World Heritage partnerships. Now, just a word on the structure and the composition of the World Heritage Center. For the World Heritage Center, which is an entity of the culture sector headed by the Assistant Director General for Culture, as director, I am supported by a deputy director, 5 regional units supporting the implementation of the World Heritage Convention, a specific unit team dedicated to natural heritage, as well as a team dedicated to nomination matters, in addition to a unit which is responsible for polity and statutory meetings. As you know, the number of posts has decreased over the last years, while the number of properties of the World Heritage List and the task for the World Heritage Centers, for World Heritage Center, have constantly increased. So we're facing a situation that is no longer sustainable, and sustainable solution will have to be identified very soon. And in this regard, it is to be noted that without extra budgetary support, it will be difficult for the World Heritage Center to continue with its work, which I think most of you have been appreciating. This gives me the opportunity really to thank all the state parties who are financing several positions within the center, and namely Austria, Belgium, China, France, Germany, Italy, Japan, Kazakhstan, Monaco, the Netherlands, Norway, Oman, the Republic of Korea, the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, Serbia, Sweden, and Spain via secondments, junior professional officers, project appointments under extra budgetary project, and through contributions to the sub-account for human resources. Just to recall the expected result, the activities of the World Heritage Center are fully in line with the medium-term strategy 2022-2029 and the approved program and budget for 2022-2021 of the 40C5. And for the World Heritage Convention, you know that one expected result was established, which is tangible heritage identified, protected, monitored, and sustainably managed by member states, in particular through the effective implementation of the 1972 Convention. And of course, we have 5 clear performance indicators that have been developed to track progress and achievement for this expected result. You also know that special attention is paid to UNESCO's 2 global priorities, and the Director General has mentioned in her intervention already Africa priority, but we also have the gender equality, and in all our activities, the Secretariat, as well as to priority target groups, we are giving priority target groups, youth and small island development state seats, a focus and a priority in this sense. And in this regard, an item related to Priority Africa is inscribed in the agenda of the committee since 2018. And this current session will be examining a proposed strategy for World Heritage in Africa. A specific report on activities of the World Heritage Program for SIDS is also included in document 5A as part of the report on the thematic program. With regard to performance indicator 1, you have all details in the report. We have heard the key outcomes of the last session of the World Heritage Committee from the rapporteur. The decision report and the video recordings of the session are fully available on the website of the extended 44th Com, as well as the summary record. And just for you to know that since our unique extended 44th session in 2021, which, as you recall, was held online, circumstances did not allow for the committee to meet in regular session. To respond to such a special situation, several meetings were organized to prepare our ongoing session, and notably 2 meetings of the Bureau, as well as 2 extraordinary meetings of the committee. This is therefore our first meeting in Presencia in 4 years, and I know that a lot of expectations are awaited from this meeting. But in the meantime, several meetings were organized in between our last session in 2021, and notably 3 different open-ended working groups, and most of you participated actively, and I would like to thank you for them. And just to recall very quickly, this working group have developed a consensual declaration on principles to promote international solidarity and cooperation to preserve world heritage, which was endorsed by the last General Assembly in 2021. And this was done through 9 online meetings. The different open-ended working group also broadened the scope of the reflection on the site of memories of recent conflict. And I don't have to come back to it because you will be examining 3 files in this regard. But I just want to recall that the outcomes of this working group were presented to and adopted by the 18th extraordinary session of the committee last January. This open-ended working group also considered the revisions to the policy document on climate action for world heritage, with the mandate to develop the final version. And this open-ended working group met 6 times between March 2022 and July 2023. And a last meeting is foreseen in October 2023, after which the text will then be presented at the next General Assembly of the state parties. And I'd like to thank all the chairpersons who have been leading this working group from Madagascar and also from Colombia. Furthermore, the World Heritage Center continued to provide support for meetings of the ad hoc working group, which met 10 times between January 2022 and June 2023, with the mandate to discuss also the reform of the nomination process and related matters, as well as the long-term financial sustainability of all current and potential new convention funds and mapping. And as you know, the recommendation of ad hoc working group will be reported to our session under item 11 of the agenda. Now, with regard to the performance 2, which is on capacity building, as you know, capacity building is one of the 5 C that have been set as a strategic objective of the committee. And this is indeed a major pillar that ensures the proper implementation of the convention. And capacity building requests and needs have increased as the results of, first of all, the last COVID-19 pandemic, and consequently activities were implemented in all regions with a focus on Africa and Arab states. And capacity building, as you know, concerns, for example, the elaboration of strategies and enhanced management of properties inscribed on the list or World Heritage List in danger, and to set them on a path toward removal from this list. And capacity building has also been strengthened through implementation of, for example, impact assessments, as well as through activities related to implementation of global strategy and the development of sub-regional action plans for World Heritage in the Caribbean. It has also been addressed in the framework of periodic reporting exercise, and we'll see with the presentation, but always in the framework of issues intrinsic to the World Heritage Convention in Africa in particular. The World Heritage Center has reinforced its collaboration with the African World Heritage Fund and universities and Category 2 centers to develop capacity building activities targeting African heritage professionals for the period 2021-2024, but also mapping African institutions of higher learning with heritage and everything. No. With regard to civil societies, which is a performance indicator 3, higher education activities have been reinforced, notably through the development of curricula on heritage management and conservation and establishment of UNESCO chairs, which are actively contributing to training. We also continued the implementation of the World Heritage Education Program, as you know, and the program implemented the first online edition of the World Heritage Young Professional Forum, and that was for the Fuju meeting, which brought together young professionals from nearly 30 state parties to discuss, debate, and provide their recommendation on the theme of World Heritage and sustainable livelihood. But I just want to bring to your attention that this program is currently facing serious challenges, notably in terms of staffing, which are putting at risk its implementation. Indeed, while you have stressed all the time that education to heritage is recognized as one of the highest priority, there's no permanent staff within the World Heritage Center in charge of this program. So, as I said at the beginning, we really encourage you to provide us with the necessary support. You know, the participation of civil society has been reinforced through the participation in the Site Managers Forum and site events. So we are organizing the 5th edition of the World Heritage Site Managers Forum here, and I would like to thank the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia and ICROM and IUCN who are helping us coordinate this. But I also want to inform you that the African Site Managers Network has been established to support, with the support of the World Heritage Center and in close collaboration of the African World Heritage Fund. And this idea is to really bring together all of them to continue to support their work so that they can share experience and also learn from others. But we also have a network which we are supporting, which is a network of marine managers, and you know that the World Heritage Marine Program connects 50 marine site managers on a daily basis to share solutions and improve conservation outcomes. I can list many of them, but what is important also is that through these performance indicators, the support to communities as well as the enhancement of their involvement in the protection of World Heritage has also been reinforced in many regions and notably in the Africa region, and several activities to strengthen the role of local communities have been continued to be organized, notably, for example, in India, with the support of the Republic of Korea Funds in Trust, but also in the Arab states supported by the Netherlands funds. Now let me move to the performance indicator 4 on conservation and sustainable development goals. And here, you know that the World Heritage Center has continued to provide technical support for several state parties for emergency situations after disasters like flood, wildfire, earthquake, and we know exactly what the Kingdom of Morocco has been facing now, and we will continue to support them, as the Director General has said in her intervention. So further details on this are also contained in document 7, which you are going to examine. The issue of armed conflict situation have continued to represent a threat to World Heritage sites, notably in Africa, where UNESCO has been very active. And here we've tried to provide capacity building under the UNESCO Heritage Emergency Fund, which we invite you and encourage you to continue supporting, but also with our partners, for example, with ALIF, the Alliance for the Protection of the Heritage in Conflict Areas, and many others also. And UNESCO and its World Heritage Center have been very active and involved in the assistance provided to Ukraine, notably through the development and implementation of the UNESCO's Action Plan for Culture in Ukraine, in close cooperation with the Secretariat of the 1954 and the 1970 Convention. Furthermore, UNESCO has worked closely with the Ukrainian Ministry of Culture, and the World Heritage Center is an active member of the International Partners for Culture in Ukraine group, which has met already 4 times at UNESCO's initiative since the war began. In addition, the World Heritage Center and the Culture in Emergencies entities cooperate closely to strengthen Ukraine's capacity to undertake urgent cultural heritage protection and recover under the UNESCO Japan Fund in Trust funded project. Now let me say a few words on the situation of sites in danger. The World Heritage Center has continued to provide the necessary technical assistance to several state parties through different projects and support initiatives, thanks to the continued support from UNESCO Japan Funds in Trust, substantial funding from Norway, the Netherlands Funds in Trust, and the World Heritage Fund also. And thanks to funding from Norway, the World Heritage Center has also developed a study to identify approaches to reverse the negative perception of the list of World Heritage danger. And more information on this is also found in and available under item 7. And concerning conservation management activities at other sites, the World Heritage Center continues to provide support for the elaboration or the review of conservation and management plans for World Heritage properties in the regions through various means, notably international assistance or voluntary contributions that we are receiving. And as you know, and as already indicated, a specific strategy for World Heritage in Africa is going to be presented to this session, and a support for activities to strengthen management and sustainable conservation properties in the continent has been made possible through a funding from Norway. Mr. Chairperson and distinguished members of the committee, I also would like to report on one particular issue in view of providing innovative tools for enhancing World Heritage conservation, management, and virtual accessibility. UNESCO launched the Dive into Heritage Platform project, funded by the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. The project aims to create an accessible online platform that leverages digital technologies to safeguard and promote World Heritage properties and their related intangible heritage. You will be able to better know about this project throughout a side event and an exhibition which will be held during our session. On sustainable development, you know that further to the adoption of the World Heritage Policy for Sustainable Development in 2015, the Center continues to mainstream sustainable development in all our activity. And this is reflected in further details in document 5D that you are going to examine later. And just to let you know that we have continued to ensure that the World Heritage Convention is relevant in pursuit of some of the sustainable development goals during the 2022-2025 period, especially SDG 11.4, which you know very well. On performance indicator 5, which is on tentative list and nomination, the World Heritage Center continues to support state parties in the process of updating the tentative list and provide advice and information. And I think we have tried to do it in order to also help you plan the elaboration of your future nomination file. And the same trend is noted since more than 10 years with Europe and North America and the Asia and Pacific region, which always having much nominations submitted and subsequently also more properties inscribed than the other 3 regions. And for what concerns tentative list, the trend in the categories of sites proposed for inclusion reflects the same trend noted in the World Heritage List with a very high proportion of cultural sites. Just few words on the thematic programs. As you know, we have some thematic programs which you have adopted, and thematic programs and initiatives in our report are presented also in this document, and you have them before you, but I just want to mention the one on sustainable tourism program and the World Heritage Education Program, which I have mentioned already. And we will continue to work on the expansion of these programs, and we will pursue our work on the marine, seats, and city programs through organization of specific activities. I also, at the beginning, told you that I was going to say some few words on the synergies with other conventions, because this has been very important and you have always mentioned it. Synergies with other conventions and programs have been further enhanced in a proactive manner by the Center since the last committee meeting. In the framework of the online consultation on the preparation of the 41C4 and the 41C5, the main UNESCO conventions and program identified as being one of the World Heritage, the ones the World Heritage Convention should collaborate with in the period 2022-2025 are the 2003 Convention, just to recall, the 1954 Convention, the 1970 Convention, the 2001 Convention, as well as MAP and the GeoParks programs. So cooperation and synergies with other biodiversity-related and culture convention and programs have been also strengthened in the framework of the 3rd cycle of periodic reporting in the Asian Pacific and also in the Latin America and the Caribbean regions, which you will be examining. You know, the World Heritage Center has also participated in the sector's wide working group on the establishment of the model rules of procedures for the assemblies, conferences of parties. We will then continue to work closely with the Secretariat of the 2003 Convention, notably in order to continue exchange best practices. Operational strategies between the two conventions, the 1954 Convention and its two protocol and the World Heritage Convention have been also developed through a specific project. Now, on a biodiversity-related convention, as regards to World Heritage Center's collaboration with other biodiversity-related conventions and programs, the focus has been on the preparation of the post-2022 UN biodiversity agenda following the expiration of the Aichi targets. And of course, you have all the details in the report. I would like to conclude my presentation, Chairperson, distinguished members of the committee, to maybe recall a little bit some of the key challenges and the way forward. While some of the challenges faced by the conventions have been addressed through reflections undertaken in the framework of the 50th anniversary, there are several of them that remain critical and of utmost importance, and notably the challenges on the governance and also the challenges on the climate change and the impact of the COVID-19, but also priority Africa. And these are among others, and we can't name all of them. On the governance, discussions and reflections around the indispensable ethical values of the different stakeholders of the convention to ensure that fundamental principles of objectivity, transparency, and impartiality are respected and promoted within the convention, and within the decision-making of the governing bodies of the World Heritage Convention have taken place both during the World Heritage Committee and General Assembly, just to recall. And in this, it is in this framework that the open-ended working group of state parties to the convention hold the 9 online meetings that I mentioned at the beginning, and which resulted to the consensual text entitled Declaration of Principles to Promote International Solidarity and Cooperation to Preserve the World Heritage. You know that there was a serious impact of the COVID-19 pandemic outbreak, and this has impacted significantly the activities planned by the World Heritage Center in all regions since 2020. And many measures have been taken in this regard. Furthermore, to respond to the impact on the World Heritage properties globally, among which the closure of World Heritage sites resulting in socio-economic impacts for related communities. And the Secretariat has adopted a two-pronged approach to culture, tourism, and the recovery. On climate change, I don't need to say more about it because we have been discussing it, that since the beginning of the year 2000, climate change has been the subject of in-depth discussion, and this continues with the working group on the policy document that you are going to examine at the General Assembly. But just to recall that in November 2020, the World Heritage Center and IUCN, with contribution from Switzerland and France, released the first global scientific assessment of both the current state and future scenario of glaciers in World Heritage properties. And this report, which has been the subject of a large media coverage, also provides a set of actions and recommendations to protect and address threats to glaciers in World Heritage properties. And you also know that UNESCO has continued to support activities with the main objective to continue raise awareness about climate change adaptation, education and capacity building. And in this regard, some projects, notably aiming at empowering site managers as well as the youth to strengthen adaptation, have been supported by the Netherlands Funding Trust, and through the Australia Funds in Trust and Flanders Trust Fund, projects were also implemented with a view of establishing a sustainable funding platform for building climate adaptation. Distinguished members of the committee, before ending, I would like to also mention, of course, what I said at the beginning is the issue that concerns staffing, staff issues. Indeed, the challenge it concerns the ratio between the requests put forward to the Secretariat and the actual human and financial means available. Limited human resources are still a major challenge faced by the Secretariat, which I'm heading. The Secretariat continues to rely heavily on temporary staff, thanks to some reinforcement, and continues to rely heavily on temporary staff. But we appreciate already the contribution that we have received from state parties. But however, there is an increasing number of new thematic consideration initiatives that the governing bodies of the Convention request to initiate and implement. Therefore, this reinforcement, which is not sustainable on the long term, does not offset the regular statutory and operational workload of the Secretariat, which continues to increase. Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you very much, my dear friend, Director, for this detailed presentation on the work accomplished. I would like to know whether are there any comments or questions? Okay, second. St. Vincent.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. President, St. Vincent and the Grenadines congratulates you on your appointment as President of this session, and you can count on our full cooperation during your mandate. St. Vincent and the Grenadines thanks the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia for the excellent organization of this session, for the warm hospitality, and for the magnificent opening ceremony of yesterday. I take this opportunity to pay tribute to Her Highness Princess Haifa Al Mogrin for her outstanding and inspiring leadership at the 17th and 18th extraordinary sessions of the committee held in Paris, and also for her constant availability to help reach common ground in meetings and negotiations. St. Vincent and the Grenadines welcomes Tuvalu, a small island developing state, as a new state party to the Convention, which is almost universally recognized as one of the most ratified legal instruments in the world. Regarding the report, I would like to thank the Director for his clear and very useful presentation, and we congratulate the Secretariat for the activities undertaken and the support provided to states parties despite the lack of financial and human resources. We thank the donors for their financial and in-kind contributions, and we encourage states parties to pay its assessed contributions on due time. The report indicates that more properties were inscribed in the Europe and North America and Asia and Pacific regions than in the other regions, and we congratulate them. Therefore, we emphasize the importance of enhancing capacity building in other regions and sub-regions to help them in the identification of potential properties to be inscribed, the update of the tentative list, the preparation of inventories and nomination files, as well as the conservation and protection of the properties. Technical and financial assistance is needed more than ever in this regard, as we face the threats of climate action on World Heritage properties, as well as the negative impacts of economic development and infrastructure projects around the sites. We encourage the Secretariat, and we thank the Secretariat in the integration of the disaster risk preparedness and response mechanisms to the management plans. We request the Center to take into account in the future the UNESCO Small Island Developing States Operational Strategy 2023-2029 and its flagships in the implementation of the World Heritage Programme for SIDS. We welcome the work of the different working groups and encourage them to continue the dialogue, especially on the policy document on climate action on World Heritage properties to be presented at the General Assembly. We know that the work has sometimes been difficult, but we are convinced that the work must be done with some compromises to reach an agreement suitable for all. Mr. President, St. Vincent and the Grenadines are among the 27 states parties to the Convention that still do not have a property inscribed on the World Heritage List. Therefore, we must continue our efforts to consider sustainable and innovative strategies for the future and to improve the geographical representation of heritage in all regions, strengthening the credibility of the Convention, founded, among other principles, on a system and respect for the highest scientific standards to safeguard heritage assets. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much. Ethiopia?
Thank you, Chairperson. Let me begin by taking this opportunity to congratulate the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia for the excellent organization as well as for the extended warm hospitality since our arrival in Riyadh. Allow me also to congratulate you, Chair, for assuming the presidency and appreciate at the same time the manner in which you are skillfully steering our debate. You can count on the full support of my delegation. We would like to thank and commend the Director of the World Heritage Center, Mr. Lazar, for a comprehensive report on the World Heritage Center activities, the close collaboration the Center has with the advisory bodies, the regional field offices, the Category 2 centers, and other institutions, as well as for the implementation of the World Heritage Committee decisions. At this juncture, I would like to express my gratitude to state parties who have contributed to the budget support. The capacity building for the preparation of tentative lists and nomination dossiers, including my country, Bali Mountain National Park document, is worth recognizing. Unfortunately, the imbalance of the nomination could still not be minimized. The report states that there are 1,157 properties across 167 state parties. 12 state parties in Africa with a rich heritage are still not inscribed on the World Heritage List. The structural imbalance in Africa remains a critical issue. My delegation believes that a balanced and credible World Heritage List should be ensured. Moreover, amid existing fragile and changing societal circumstances, we encourage the Center to continue with its work and introduce measures that are pertinent to the protection of World Heritage property worldwide. Finally, Mr. Chairperson, I would like to express Ethiopia's support for the draft decision on item 5A and wish us a fruitful, successful deliberation. I thank you.
Thank you very much. Well noted. Japan?
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Chair, and good morning to my colleagues. At the outset, I would like to echo the message of congratulations for your chairpersonship, and also our gratitude to the government of Saudi Arabia for making remarkable, wonderful arrangements for our committee. And also, I would like to concur with the Director General in expressing our heartfelt condolences to the families of the victims of the recent catastrophic earthquake in Morocco and express our strong solidarity with the people of Morocco in this regard. Back to the topic at hand now. First, I would like to express our appreciation for the activities of the World Heritage Center for all the points for all the points mentioned by its director earlier. We know that Mr. ADG Culture and also the director of the center, all of you are very busy. But we appreciate your work a lot. Mr. Chair, with your indulgence, I would like to take the opportunity to mention 4 major items as priority items for our future contribution to the World Heritage Convention. First of all, we would like to pursue a more balanced list of World Heritage with enhanced authenticity. In this context, we should enhance our focus on Africa and seeds, which are underrepresented in the current list. If I'm allowed to introduce some of our activities, Japan is trying to support the nominations by African countries in terms of capacity building. Also, we have made contributions to the delisting of a Ugandan property, tombs of Buganda kings at Kasbi, from the list of World Heritage in danger. This will be adopted in the current session of the committee, which would like to expand this point in item 5C, Priority Africa. Our second point is the enhanced synergy with other conventions protecting the heritage, including intangible cultural heritage, geopark, and MAB. This point was actually specifically mentioned by the director of the center earlier. If we can create synergies among the programs with common elements, we should be able to promote more effective and comprehensive protection policies. Thirdly, compatibility with sustainable development. Regrettably, as we will see in days ahead, the compatibility between economic development and heritage conservation has become a really serious issue, which requires more dialogue between the concerned member states and the advisory bodies. From this point of view, Japan is making a proposal to enhance such dialogue in this committee under item 7. Finally, the mitigation of the impact caused by the climate change and other natural disasters. Japan is supporting a UNESCO project designed to introduce to Africa of the early warning system for natural disaster, making use of AI. And if we could introduce this technology into protection of World Heritage, we should be better prepared to deal with natural disasters. Mr. Chair, Japan will continue to make contributions to the World Heritage Convention through the efforts that I have explained in this intervention. Thank you very much.
Many thanks, Your Excellency. Giving the floor to Qatar.
شكرا السيد الرئيس على إعطائي مرة أخرى هذه الكلمة. أود في البداية أن أشكركم وأشكر المملكة العربية السعودية على تنظيم هذه الأعمال بإذن الله. كما أود شكر مركز التراث العالمي والسيد لازار على تقديم هذا التقرير الوافي والمفصل والذي استفدنا منه الكثير، كوننا نحضر أول أعمال جلسة التراث العالمي حضورياً، وذلك بعد انضمام دولة قطر منذ نوفمبر 2021 حتى 2025. كما أود إضافة صوتي لكل الزملاء الذين شكروا سمو الأميرة هيفاء بنت عبد العزيز المقرن على ترأسها برئاستها الحكيمة لأعمال الجلسة الاستثنائية 18 للجنة التراث العالمي، ونتمنى لها التوفيق. كما أود أن أتقدم إلى إخواننا في المغرب الشقيق وتقديم أحر التعازي إلى الأشقاء في المملكة المغربية الشقيقة في هذا المصاب الجلل، ونقدمه للحكومة وللشعب المغربي. ونود بأن نؤكد بالتزاماتنا خلال عضويتنا في لجنة التراث العالمي بأن هناك العديد من الواجبات اتجاه التراث العالمي الذي يتواجد في المغرب ولا سيما في المناطق المتواجدة للتراث في مدينة مراكش وخاصة القديمة. ونثمن ما تقدمته كلمة المديرة العامة وتقرير لجنة التراث بما يخص هذا المصاب. كما تستمر دولة قطر بجهودها الدولية في تعزيز آليات الحماية الدولية في حماية التراث العالمي. في هذا الصدد نؤكد دعم دولة قطر جهود مركز التراث العالمي لحماية والحفاظ على التراث، وبالتأكيد بمواجهة التحديات المعاصرة كالتغير المناخ وتحقيق أهداف التنمية المستدامة من خلال التوازن بلا شك بين القيمة الاستثنائية العالمية وتحقيق أهداف التنمية المستدامة. وسعت دولة قطر بقيامها بالشراكات لتعزيز الجهود الدولية لحماية التراث من خلال إطلاق صندوق الطوارئ لحماية التراث بمبلغ 10 مليون دولار في 2014 خلال أعمال جلسة التراث العالمي في الدوحة مع منظمة اليونسكو وعدد من الدول الأعضاء. كما نؤكد استمرار دولة قطر في هذه الجهود لحماية التراث، وقد وقعت دولة قطر اتفاقية مع منظمة اليونسكو بتعزيز هذا الصندوق هذا العام. وكما نؤكد حرص دولة قطر على تنفيذ جميع قرارات لجنة التراث العالمي في جميع المناطق العالم، لا سيما في المناطق في دولة فلسطين المحتلة، وتحقيق هذا الهدف في حماية التراث في الأراضي الفلسطينية المحتلة. وشكرا سيد الرئيس.
شكرا جزيلا سعادة السفير. جمهورية مصر.
شكرا سيادة الرئيس. اسمحوا لي في البداية أن أتوجه إليكم بأطيب التهاني بمناسبة توليكم رئاسة اللجنة خلفا لسمو الأميرة هيفاء المكرم، التي نشكرها على الجهود التي بذلتها، وأن نؤكد لكم وقوف وفد مصر إلى جانبكم من أجل إنجاح هذه الدورة وخروجها بالنتائج المرجوة. كما نود أن نعرب عن خالص تقدير للحفاوة الاستقبال والترتيبات الرائعة التي قدمتها المملكة العربية السعودية لوفود الدول المشاركة، والتي تجعل من أعمال دورتنا مثالاً ونموذجاً مشرفاً لنا جميعاً. وقبل أن أبدأ تعقيبي على تقرير مدير معهد مجلس التراث العالمي، أود أن أتقدم بخالص تعازي للمملكة المغربية الشقيقة في تحية الزلزال المدمر الذي ضرب عدداً من الأقاليم والمدن، وأن أعرب عن تضامن مصر الكامل مع المملكة المغربية حكومة وشعباً ومواساتها لأسر الضحايا. والآن اسمحوا لي بالتحدث باللغة الإنجليزية. I would like to thank the Director of the World Heritage Center for presenting a comprehensive report on the activities in implementing the committee's decisions. The World Heritage Convention became indeed one of the most ratified legal instruments globally with 195 state parties, which emphasize the growing interest of the whole world in the protection of cultural and natural heritage and developing innovative solutions to tackle the emerging challenges facing it. Hence, we stress the growing demand on capacity building activities, mostly from African and Arab states, as well as small island developing states, in order to enhance their conservation and management of heritage sites, to contribute to the removal of the properties inscribed on the list of the World Heritage in danger, and improve the quality of nomination files prepared for new sites, with the aim of reaching a balanced and representative World Heritage list. In this regard, Egypt commends the efforts exerted by the World Heritage Center in Africa through launching the mentorship program for African heritage professionals, which is implemented in close collaboration with the African World Heritage Fund and the advisory bodies, with generous support from a number of donors to whom we extend our appreciation and gratitude. We also commend the collaboration between the Center and higher education institutions in Africa with the aim of developing the heritage curricula. In the Arab region, Egypt appreciates the efforts exerted by the World Heritage Center in collaboration with the Arab Regional Center for World Heritage based in Bahrain, as well as the fruitful initiatives and activities organized in the region, most notably launching the Dive into Heritage project funded by the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. In conclusion, we're looking forward to expand the capacity building activities developed by the World Heritage Center advisory bodies in cooperation with UNESCO Category 2 centers to reach out to more participants in both Africa and Arab region. Thank you very much, Mr. Chair.
شكرا جزيلا سعادة السفير. المكسيك.
Gracias, señor presidente. Felicidades por su nominación. Cuenta usted con el respaldo y colaboración de México durante los trabajos del comité. Felicitamos a las autoridades de Arabia Saudita y la UNESCO por la organización de esta sesión extendida que al fin nos reúne de manera presencial. México transmite sus sinceras condolencias y solidaridad con las víctimas y personas afectadas por el terremoto en Marrakech, Marruecos. México agradece el informe presentado por el Centro de Patrimonio Mundial y reconoce sus esfuerzos en línea con la estrategia de mediano plazo. Celebramos las acciones para el reforzamiento de capacidades durante el proceso de elaboración del tercer ciclo de reportes periódicos de América Latina y el Caribe, así como la colaboración con el Instituto Regional de Patrimonio Mundial de Zacatecas, centro de categoría 2 de la UNESCO, para intercambiar mejores prácticas para la gestión de patrimonio mundial en nuestra región. México es hogar de 35 sitios inscritos, 4 de ellos marinos. Estamos orgullosos de contribuir con el Programa Marino de Patrimonio Mundial con la iniciativa Environmental DNA Expeditions para medir la diversidad marina en las islas de Revillagigedo. Apoyamos la reflexión en torno a la lista de patrimonio mundial en peligro y los estudios para revertir la percepción negativa de la misma. Damos la bienvenida al Estado parte de Tuvalu y reconocemos a todos aquellos Estados parte que contribuyen financieramente de manera extraordinaria. La educación en materia de patrimonio mundial es clave para involucrar a la juventud en la conservación y protección del patrimonio. El Foro 2023 de Jóvenes Profesionales y el Patrimonio Mundial organizado por Arabia Saudita resulta de gran relevancia. Escuchamos con interés las acciones del Secretariado vinculadas a la recomendación de 2011 sobre paisaje urbano histórico y hemos propuesto enmiendas al punto 5A para promover se informe consistentemente sobre su implementación en relación con la Convención y al punto 7.2, proponiendo que la recomendación acompañe procesos de nominación y actualización de planes de gestión. Nuestro país participa en el Programa de Indicadores de Cultura 2030 a nivel local y nacional para medir la contribución de la cultura en la Agenda para el Desarrollo Sostenible. La entrega de resultados del proyecto a finales de este mes marcará en México el primer aniversario del Foro Mundial de Políticas Culturales y Desarrollo Sostenible, Mondiacult 2022. Celebramos la firma del Memorándum de Entendimiento entre el Secretariado de la Convención y la CITES, que conllevará reforzar la protección de especies en peligro. México confirma su compromiso con la Convención de Patrimonio Mundial, su interés por reforzar su credibilidad y desea una sesión productiva y colaborativa a todos los miembros del comité. Optamos por la versión en inglés como lengua de trabajo. Gracias.
Thank you very much. Sultan Oman.
شكرا جزيلا سعادة الرئيس، وأريد أن أكرر شكري وتقديري لكم والمملكة العربية السعودية على هذا العرس الثقافي وكرم الاستقبال والضيافة. كذلك أريد أضم صوتي إلى صوت من سبقوني لشكر الأخت العزيزة سمو الأميرة هيفاء على ترأسها الجلسة الاستثنائية وعلى التعاون حقيقة والفعاليات المشتركة بيننا وبينها. نتمنى لها كل التوفيق ونتمنى لكم كل التوفيق والنجاح إن شاء الله. كذلك أضم صوتي لتقديم العزاء الحار للمملكة المغربية في هذا المصاب الجلل، نسأل الله سبحانه وتعالى السلامة للجميع. I'll switch to English. As for the Oman would like to thank the Secretariat represented by the World Heritage Center for all the efforts and excellent work during this period, just briefly mentioned by the Director of the World Heritage Center, as well as their cooperation And here I would like to acknowledge the importance of one element, that is the online platform of World Heritage Canopy, as a relevant tool to support the operationalization of the World Heritage Sustainable Development Program, as well as for the capacity building and initiative, and invite states parties to contribute to these initiatives and to support the effort together and to analyze and to share information on good practices and innovative solutions integrating heritage conservation with the sustainable development. Oman concurs with the comments raised by Ethiopia, Japan, St. Vincent, and Qatar, and Mexico. Oman also would like to support the amendment submitted by Mexico for this element and co-author it. I thank you.
شكرا جزيلا سعادة السفير. أرجنتينا.
Señor presidente del Comité de Patrimonio Mundial, señor director general del Centro de Patrimonio Mundial, señor presidente del Comité del Patrimonio, quiero felicitarlo por su designación. Señor director del Patrimonio Mundial, le agradecemos su excelente informe de las actividades del comité. También quiero expresar nuestra solidaridad para el pueblo y mis condolencias, nuestras condolencias para el pueblo de Marruecos. Como delegada permanente de la República Argentina y a cargo de una de las vicepresidencias de este comité, es un honor poder dirigirme a ustedes en la apertura de esta sesión. Deseo agradecer a los organizadores, a las autoridades del Reino de Arabia Saudita, por haber permitido concretar finalmente este encuentro para abordar uno de los principales temas de la agenda de la UNESCO, que hoy nos convoca de cara a una larga y esperamos toda fructífera sesión para conocer y lograr consensos en torno al patrimonio mundial. El trabajo y el compromiso desarrollado por la Argentina desde entonces los constituyen los 11 sitios culturales y naturales inscritos en mi país, así como una lista tentativa, nutrida, representativa, actualizada periódicamente como demostración del compromiso de nuestro país con la conservación y la preservación del patrimonio. El patrimonio mundial también se reconoce como vehículo privilegiado de la política de los derechos humanos del Estado argentino, que con esta conferencia ha presentado la candidatura de un sitio de memoria emblemático en la historia del reciente de nuestro país. Esta nominación es el resultado de un trabajo profundo en el que el país se involucró activamente en el grupo de trabajo de composición abierta de los Estados partes de la Convención, que derivó las recomendaciones para incorporar primera vez los sitios de memoria al ámbito de consideración del comité y abrió las puertas para la presentación de esta nominación de mi país en este contexto. Por ello, reitero el agradecimiento a los organizadores de esta sesión, que sirva como una vía para fomentar el diálogo, la comprensión, los consensos y que una a toda la comunidad internacional, una vez más en los compromisos que nuestros estados han asumido al ratificar la Convención y transformarse en actores de uno de los mayores desafíos que hoy nos convoca, la protección del patrimonio cultural y natural y el trabajo conjunto para que los sitios y los espacios que hoy nos convocan a esta mesa de trabajo sean realmente el reflejo del compromiso que asumimos de cara a nuestro futuro. Muchas gracias.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency, Russian Federation.
Спасибо, уважаемый господин председатель. Прежде всего, позвольте выразить слова сочувствия и поддержки правительству Марокко, всем пострадавшим людям, родным и близким погибших в связи с разрушительным землетрясением. Наши сердца с дружественным народом Марокко. Хотел бы поблагодарить вас, господин председатель, и Королевство Саудовской Аравии за прекрасную организацию 45-й расширенной сессии Комитета всемирного наследия, за теплый прием, который был оказан членам комитета. Благодаря вам многочисленное сообщество экспертов по охране наследия может, наконец, впервые за 4 года встретиться физически лицом к лицу друг с другом, обсудить актуальные вопросы применения конвенции, поделиться лучшими практиками. Особенно это важно для управляющих объектами наследия, а также молодых специалистов. Со своей стороны готовы сделать все от нас зависящее, чтобы работа сессии прошла в конструктивном ключе на благо всех стран-участниц Конвенции и ее стейкхолдеров, включая местные сообщества, которым в соответствии с руководством по применению Конвенции отводится важная роль в сохранении выдающейся универсальной целостности объектов. С интересом ознакомились с докладом секретариата за отчетный период. Обращает на себя внимание широкий спектр задач, которые выполнялись Центром всемирного наследия. Некоторые из них, на наш взгляд, выходят за рамки Конвенции и ее мандата и отвлекают и без того ограниченные ресурсы Центра от главной его задачи – оказания содействия странам-участницам в формировании сбалансированного, заслуживающего доверия списка всемирного наследия, исправления его географического дисбаланса, наращивания потенциала стран-участниц. Полагали бы важным сфокусироваться на поиске путей снижения финансовых затрат на подготовку номинационных досье, активную помощь развивающимся странам, создание там национального экспертного потенциала, а также на поиске креативных путей сопряжения целей устойчивого развития, строительства необходимых социальных инфраструктурных объектов и сохранности объектов всемирного наследия. Хотели бы также призвать секретариат при составлении отчетов базироваться исключительно на терминологии, принятой в Конвенции. И у нас есть один вопрос к секретариату. Многие объекты в списке всемирного наследия являются одновременно религиозными и священными местами. Местные сообщества, в том числе религиозные организации, играют большую роль в управлении объектом и сохранении их выдающейся универсальной ценности. Хотели бы поинтересоваться, что было сделано за отчетный период в рамках инициативы ЮНЕСКО и Центра всемирного наследия «Наследие религиозного значения». Это название инициативы. Спасибо.
Thank you, Your Excellency. Mali.
Monsieur le Président, je voudrais vous féliciter, vous, pour votre façon remarquable de diriger nos travaux et féliciter votre pays pour son hospitalité généreuse. Le Mali félicite aussi le Centre pour la mise en œuvre du programme de mentorat pour les professionnels africains du patrimoine mondial 2021-2024 et encourage les États membres à donner les moyens de sa poursuite. La cartographie précise des établissements africains d'enseignement supérieur avec les programmes de recherche et d'enseignement sur le patrimoine est une bonne initiative, mais demeure incomplète sans la participation des délégations permanentes pour y fournir les informations indispensables. Il faudra également que cette base de données soit accessible et que des mécanismes soient trouvés pour renforcer la coopération entre les établissements. Le Mali tient à saluer la création du réseau des gestionnaires des sites africains et se réjouit de l'élection du comité permanent en décembre 2022, conformément au plan d'action régional pour l'Afrique 2021-2027 du comité du patrimoine mondial. Nous saluons également les premières formations des guides organisées dans le cadre du programme sur le patrimoine mondial et le tourisme durable et appelons à son extension à plus d'États, car il faut bien que le tourisme, qui est une activité très dynamique, puisse continuer afin d'éviter que le secteur ne s'effondre totalement. Nous nous réjouissons du soutien de l'UNESCO et d'ALIP pour la poursuite des efforts concernant le patrimoine malien, notamment le tombeau des Askia ainsi que les falaises de Bandiagara. Concernant ces derniers, il est heureux de constater la bonne poursuite de la mise en œuvre du programme relatif au patrimoine culturel bâti et matériel et aux objets et pratiques associés aux falaises de Bandiagara, dont les travaux ont débuté en octobre 2021. Enfin, réitérons nos chaleureux remerciements au gouvernement du Japon, des Pays-Bas, du Sultanat d'Oman, de Corée, pour le fonds en dépôt en vue de soutenir les États n'ayant aucun bien inscrit sur la liste. Je vous remercie.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. Kingdom of Thailand.
Mr. Chairperson, dear committee members, please allow us to begin by expressing our gratitude to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, our host country, for their warm hospitality extended to us. We would also like to take this opportunity to congratulate Mr. Chairperson on assuming the chairmanship of the extended 45th session of the World Heritage Committee. We would also like to commend and thank you, Mr. Director of the World Heritage Center, for the comprehensive report presented under this item. We also want to express our sincere condolences and the solidarity of the Kingdom and the people of Thailand to the people of Morocco after the disaster. Mr. Chairperson, after these 4 years without in-presential meeting, my delegation also would like to join the sentiments expressed by other committee members that it is the great opportunity for all of us to resume our duties to discuss matters of mutual interest. Mr. Chairperson, a balanced, representative, and credible World Heritage List is at the center of our work. Strengthening the capacities of state parties to prepare dossiers and files to improve the quality of nominations of state parties is key. Resources should be mobilized equitably from technical operation or from bilateral sources so that countries with World Heritage potentials could be better represented in the list. In this regard, we would like to reiterate that close consultation between state parties and the advisory bodies lies at the heart of these efforts. Mutual respect for the role of state parties, as well as that of the advisory bodies within their mandates, is crucial. We also encourage closer cooperation and consultation between experts of the state parties and the advisory bodies through their regional and country offices, which must have a more defined role in relating to state parties. We also view the need for more experts in the advisory bodies coming from developing countries. Mr. Chairperson, we are living in the world of turbulence and many challenges manifesting themselves from many fronts. My delegation would like to stress the importance of the spirit of multilateralism, the spirit of collaboration and consensus, as well as we all desire to uphold the value of the Convention. Lastly, Thailand, as Vice Chair of the session, stands ready to assist you, Mr. Chairperson, in the meeting. My delegation is certain that your able chairmanship will guide the committee to reach positive conclusions and overcome obstacles in an amicable way. Thank you, Mr. Chairperson.
Thank you very much. So now we have 4 committee members left. If you are okay, we continue in the session afternoon because we have a message from the youth that's already scheduled on 12:13. If that's fine with the remaining committee members to continue afternoon, then we will do. Otherwise, we will proceed now. So, is that okay? India?
Excellency, can you please name out the 4 committee members that are left so that we are sure? Thank you.
Noted.
So you can ask me to name them. I can do.
Dear Director, can you name the remaining countries?
Thank you, Mr. Chairperson. Now that Nigeria has also expressed interest to speak, you are now 5, which I will list: Belgium, Bulgaria, South Africa, India, Nigeria, and there is a 6th one, I see Greece. Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you very much. So, dear colleagues, as we are just from discussion with the report of the Secretariat about the past 50 years of our convention and look into the next 50, to finish our morning session, it is a real pleasure for me to give the floor to Ms. Ravali Vengati of the UNESCO World Heritage Center, who will lead us through the outcomes of the capacity building and networking event that gathered those who will be taking care of our World Heritage during those next 50 years. I mean, the participant of the World Heritage Young Professional Forum. Ms. Vengati, you have the floor.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. As an integral part of the extended 45th session of the World Heritage Committee, and in the framework of the UNESCO World Heritage Education Program, the Ministry of Culture of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, through the National Committee for Education, Culture and Science, and the Saudi Heritage Commission, hosted the World Heritage Young Professionals Forum 2023 under the theme of Looking Ahead, the Next 50 Years of Protecting Natural and Cultural Heritage. The forum is taking place from the 3rd to the 12th of September here in Riyadh and at the Al-Asa Oasis. The forum was developed and implemented with the support of the NGO The Addresses, and it was an opportunity for the young professionals to assess the achievements of the past 5 decades of the convention. Now, it is our pleasure to invite the chairperson of the World Heritage Committee to deliver his remarks towards this Young Professionals Forum.
Dear distinguished guests, we are delighted today to present the World Young Professional Forum under the title, Looking Ahead, the Next 50 Years of Protecting Natural and Cultural Heritage. The forum is held in conjunction with the Kingdoms hosting the extended 45th session of the World Heritage Committee, and it continues for 10 days from the 3rd of September until the 12th of September, 2023 in Riyadh. This forum is attended by 34 young professionals among 17,000 applicants from different countries around the world and includes an integrated agenda comprising cultural experiences and various visits, as well as workshops and dialogue sessions on the forum's topics and areas. The forum explores the various possibilities and active role that young individuals can perform in enriching the preservation of heritage, considering its place in culture and facing modern challenges surrounding it. The session revolves around the achievement of the past 50 years since the signing of the World Heritage Convention, which laid the foundation for the preservation and protection of world heritage, and looking forward to what the next 50 years of heritage preservation may look like, considering what has been achieved. Young professionals play a vital role in ensuring the sustainability of our future work in the preservation of World Heritage Sites. The forum provides the young professionals with the skills, knowledge, and the basic principles to improve the development of heritage conservation. The forum's work revolves around 4 main topics. The first is global heritage and climate change, as climate change is a major threat to the natural and cultural heritage sites, resulting in 1/3 of natural heritage sites and 1 in 6 cultural heritage sites being under the threat of extreme weather conditions like floods, forest fire, and storms. The session also discussed the concept of sustainable tourism, as World Heritage Sites form tourist attractions that are visited by many tourists each year, requiring the application of sound practice that ensure the safety and sustainability of the sites. The forum also explores the digital dimensions of World Heritage, as technology tool and continuous digital development have interesting potential to enhance the means of action around World Heritage conservation. And the last topic is the diversity and representation of World Heritage. The forum started in Riyadh on the 3rd of September. The agenda includes visit to several heritage and cultural sites in Riyadh, as well as visit to Al-Hassa Oasis as a case study to explore the most prominent natural and cultural components of the World Heritage Sites, and to examine the tools and practices used to protect attributes. Through the forum, the Ministry of Culture, represented by the Heritage Commission and the National Commission for Culture, Education and Science, aims to enable young people to invest their abilities and potential to benefit World Heritage and to equip them to develop their skills and careers, as well as partake on the international level in discussion on heritage sector and the integrity of World Heritage sites and their values. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Chairperson, for your kind and encouraging words towards our young professionals. We now invite the Assistant Director General for Culture of UNESCO, Mr. Ernesto Otone, to deliver his closing remarks to our young professionals.
Thank you. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, it is my great pleasure to join you for this closing session of the World Heritage Young Professional Forum. I would like to take this opportunity to express our heartfelt thanks to the Minister of Culture of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, the National Committee for Education, Culture and Science, the Saudi Heritage Commission, and to you personally, Chairperson, for having generously hosted the 2023 edition of the World Heritage Young Professional Forum. Thank you also to the NGO Diadrasis for its support in making this event possible. I would like to congratulate all the young professionals present here for their efforts, your commitment and your passion for heritage, which has made this forum a resounding success. This year, the forum received over 17,000 applicants, out of which 34 participants were selected. This shows the growing commitment of youth around the world to the protection of our shared heritage. Each of you are unique. You come from different countries and you have different backgrounds, but share the same conviction, the conviction that your voice and young people's voices everywhere matters in shaping a better future for heritage. And it's our conviction that we share with you at UNESCO. As we continue to celebrate the 50th anniversary of the World Heritage Convention, we must not forget to think about the challenges facing heritage today. As key actors in the future of heritage, we will need your vision to develop sustainable solutions, as we need to protect, preserve, and promote our heritage. The vision must be holistic. Heritage is cultural, natural, or mixed, tangible or intangible, ancient or modern. The communities responsible for safeguarding heritage have also expanded. Central and regional government, NGOs, local associations, and individuals or barriers all have a place in the process of promoting and protecting our common heritage. During the past week, you have immersed yourself in various topics linked to World Heritage and explored in greater depth themes such as climate change, sustainable tourism, diversity and representation, and the digital dimension of heritage. You heard from local and international experts on the subject, participated in many workshops, group discussions, and learned from one another. You also had the opportunity to discover, we didn't have the chance yet, the diverse heritage of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia and gain from local insight. We hope you have benefited from this enriching learning experience and have no doubt that the World Heritage Committee will benefit from your fresh ideas. The outcome document which you have developed together and will be presented to the 195 state parties of the World Heritage Convention is proof of this. Your feedback and recommendation will be crucial as we proceed with the session of this World Heritage Committee. We hope that your recommendation, in extension, will reflect the role of culture as a driver of development, as it was mentioned some days ago by the G20 leaders, as a tool for ensuring sustainable livelihoods, and most importantly, as a global public good, reaffirming what we all witnessed during Mondiacult in Mexico in September last year. In closing, I congratulate all of you once again for your contribution to this fruitful forum and wish you the greatest success in all your future professional pursuits. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ADG, for those very impactful and encouraging words towards our young professionals. Ladies and gentlemen, dear excellencies, I think it is now time for us to meet our young professionals who have been hard at work for the last 10 days. As you know, the Young Professionals Forum preceded the committee session. So I now invite our young professionals to join us on the stage. And as they do so, we would like to present to you a little snapshot, a small video of the activities that the young professionals have undertaken in the past 10 days. And as our ADG rightly mentioned, they have had the opportunity to discover the rich heritage of Saudi Arabia through the At-Turaid district and the Al-Asa Oasis. I now invite you to watch this small video of the young professionals' activities and their capacity building efforts over the last week. Thank you.
هذه الاستضافة سوف تكون جزء من خريطة العالم المستقبلية بإذن الله تعالى. المملكة تقود هذه المرحلة باقتدار وبشكل كبير إن شاء الله.
أن ما نطمح له، وهذه من أهداف منظمة اليونسكو ومركز التراث العالمي، أن هذه النواة من الشباب والشابات على مستوى العالم هم من سيقود ملفات التراث العالمي مستقبلا، ونفتخر في المملكة العربية السعودية أن نكون جزء من هذا الملف الكبير، ملف بناء القدرات.
This forum is happening for the first time after we celebrated the 50th anniversary of the World Heritage Convention. So this forum is happening 50 years after the adoption of the World Heritage Convention. And even the youth have participated in understanding what have been the achievements since 50 years, but also what are the challenges to address for the next 50 years. So they have a voice, and this will be the first time they can share their voice.
Ladies and gentlemen, as you can see, our young professionals have been very hard at work over the past week, learning new skills, developing their capacities, but also preparing their message for you, because they have something to say to the 195 state parties of the World Heritage Convention. And so now, I turn to you, dear participants, because we have arrived at the most awaited moment of this morning. It is time for us to hear your voices and your vision for the future of World Heritage. It is my pleasure to invite two participant representatives from this wonderful cohort of the World Heritage Young Professionals Forum 2023, Mr. Rodrigo Sainz Lara from Mexico and Ms. Refan Abid from the host country of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, to present the outcomes of the forum to the plenary session this morning. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Dear distinguished guests, we, the participants of the UNESCO World Heritage Young Professionals Forum 2023, would like to extend our sincere thanks to the chairperson of the extended 45th session of the World Heritage Committee and to the UNESCO World Heritage Center for organizing this forum. Furthermore, we are grateful to the Ministry of Culture, the Saudi Heritage Commission, and the National Committee for Education, Culture, and Science in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia for hosting the forum. Our heartfelt thanks goes as well to the non-governmental organization, Diadrasas, for the support, and the groups of experts and facilitators for their enriching insights and mentorship. Along with them, we have examined pertinent vectors of World Heritage, including climate change, sustainable tourism, digital evolution, and the diversity and representation of World Heritage. We have benefited from the local experience of the host country's diverse heritage and have gained valuable skills and expertise to support the next 50 years protecting natural and cultural heritage. First and foremost, we call upon the state parties to address the effects of climate change on cultural and natural heritage through a multidisciplinary approach. We stress the importance of the identification and the engagement of diverse and multiple stakeholders. With the pressing global impact of climate change, we urge state parties to work on international preparedness through risk assessment, reactive emergency response, and post-disaster recovery and conservation, resulting in effective risk-related policies and mitigating procedures. Recognizing communities as the custodian and caretakers of heritage, we urge state parties to bridge the gap between local communities and heritage experts by creating frameworks and capacity-building initiatives which valorize the inherent knowledge residing in the communities and ensure equal participation in the decision-making process. We further encourage the state parties to foster creative ways of mobilizing society to react collectively to pre- and post-climate crisis scenarios. Understanding the long-term and rapidly evolving impact of tourism on heritage, we recommend the state parties to ensure the neutral, sustained study and monitoring of these effects on communities, and to establish active communication with them, to co-develop context-related sustainable tourism approaches and strategies. Recognizing the fact that tangible and living heritage are vulnerable to external influences alike, we urge decision makers to ensure that the community's tradition and relationship to their environments are protected. Realizing the negative impact of over-tourism on heritage destinations, we urge state parties to transform their national tourism strategy from a quantity-based approach to a quality-based approach, focused on local livelihood and economies, by promoting local crafts and businesses. We further invite the state parties to develop and support initiatives and trainings on sustainable tourism mechanisms, which will directly impact future careers in the field and contribute to national gross domestic product.
Understanding that authenticity plays a key role in the preservation of heritage and forms the core of the outstanding universal value of World Heritage properties, we urge state parties to retain unique ways of expression and develop effective policies and procedures that ensure the active participation of all stakeholders and move towards regenerative tourism. Digital technology should be seen as a complementary tool to study and promote cultural and natural heritage, rather than as the ultimate aim themselves. We invite state parties to reflect on the best ways in which innovative digital technologies can aid in the management, capacity building, and documentation of heritage sites. We advise to consider these tools as a way of engaging younger generations and groups with different capacities, and reach a wider international audience. These platforms could also serve as an opportunity for international collaboration of scientists, researchers, and heritage professionals through enhanced accessibility. We call upon the state parties to ensure the ethical and secure use of data and to promote open access softwares and platforms. However, we suggest that they remain mindful of the risks attached to the use of rapidly evolving digital technology, including the nefarious use of data, security breaches, exclusion of certain groups, and the neglect of the physical attributes of heritage. In addition, acknowledging the potential of social media, we strongly recommend that the concerned authorities of the state parties leverage all digital tools and utilize existing social media communities to promote heritage with a holistic approach. We call on all the state parties to intensify their efforts into bringing more diversity into the inscription of World Heritage Sites, through the continuous exploration of opportunities for underrepresented regions and categories of heritage. The state parties must involve local communities and ensure the inclusion of traditional and indigenous knowledge in the inscription process. Lastly, we demand the state parties include the younger generations and give agency to their voice in the discussion on cultural and natural heritage. The perspective and new approaches of young professionals are indispensable to modern planning and management of heritage, as well as to navigate a world of evolving technology. The state parties must hence provide additional support to young people who are passionate about heritage, its promotion and protection. We advise the state parties to reaffirm their efforts to the best of their capabilities and provide young people with programs, platforms, and the resources required to better manage heritage in the future. We acknowledge our role as the future decision makers of heritage, and as we continue to celebrate the 50th anniversary of the World Heritage Convention, we are ready to take the baton of protecting our shared natural and cultural heritage for the next 50 years and beyond. Shukran jazalan. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Rodrigo and Refan. Ladies and gentlemen, you have heard from the youth, you have heard their passion, their commitment, and moreover, their responsibility to take over the protection and promotion of our world heritage for the next 50 years and beyond. So now, it is a moment for us to celebrate their hard work of the last 10 days and to congratulate them for all the capacity building initiatives we know they are sure to follow with in their own state parties. I invite our chairperson and the ADG of Culture to now hand over the certificates to our participants to celebrate their victory. I will now invite each of our participants to join the ADG and the chairperson for the certificate ceremony. Our very first participant, Abdurrahman Yassin from Somalia. Followed by Ahabgyona Aliguma from Uganda. We have Ayub Yunus from Iraq. Bruna Tabajara Brilman from Brazil. David Mornout from the Netherlands. Diana Blanco Quiroga from Bolivia. Diana Mrozek from Poland. Dimitra Kleri Yaniri from Greece. Zarina Susuke from Papua New Guinea. Emmanuel Banahene Owusu from Ghana. Fares El Ush from Tunisia. Fatma Al Suwaidi from the United Arab Emirates. Hevan Berhane from Ethiopia. Jawahir Al-Kharousi from Oman. Joseph Tsongo from the Democratic Republic of Congo. Kenley Rudim Kenneth from Palau. Mahda Farouhi from Iran. Grace Malier from Tuvalu, the newest signatory to the World Heritage Convention. Manitou Chrouet from South Sudan. Neliswa Makajwa from Eswatini. Nigar Sheikh from India. Nova Vera Aranda from Peru. Peningwan Boasen from Greenland. Rauda Abdul Hadi from Egypt. Refan Abid from the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Reem El Harouni from Morocco. Roberto Aguilar Chan from Guatemala. Rodrigo Sáenz Lara from Mexico. Ruth Carolina Pion Vizcaino from the Dominican Republic. Sinyati Mark from Tanzania. Suhail As-Suhaimi from the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Tejas Das Singh from Guyana. Qin Yue from the People's Republic of China. And last but not the least, our participant Zaina Al-Khaja from Bahrain. Thank you, Chairperson and dear ADG, for felicitating our participants for their hard work. I now invite you to join our participants for a group photo here on the dais. Thank you. I also take this opportunity to invite the Secretary General of the National Commission of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia and the CEO of the Saudi Heritage Commission, Dr. Chasser, please. Together with the implementing organization, the addresses.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
I wanted to apologize. Sorry, I forgot to shake hands. Hidden soldier.
Dear colleagues, as we are coming at the end of our morning session, we will resume our session at 3 p.m. But before that, I will give the floor to our director, Mr. Lazar.
Thank you, Chairperson. I just want to share with you that today, during the lunchtime, there will be 3 site events organized. The first one will be on using the impact assessment for heritage conservation and renewable energy development organized by UNESCO the Netherlands, Norway, and the advisory bodies. And this will be in the room Rokat from 1:15 to 2:45 p.m. And the second side event, which will be conserving Alula's cultural heritage through awareness raising and scientific cooperation, the example of RCU/Saudi e-commerce partnership. It is organized by the Royal Commission for Alula in Al-Asha Oasis, and this is in Al-Hasar Oasis room. And this starts at 1:30 until 2:30. And then you'll have in the advisory body space, Hegre room, you have a side event which is called How the IUCN Green List Can Support Effective World Heritage Sites. This is organized by IUCN and will start at 1:15. It will last for an hour. So the side events space is located outside the Alpha Salia Center. The host country has put up signage and direction to lead the participants to the dedicated zone. You can follow them. Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you very much, and see you at 3 p.m.
This is serious.